softest thing on earth wears down the hardest. Not sometimes, not with luck, every single time if you give it time. Lao Tzu proved it in 8 lines 25 centuries ago. And in the next 50 minutes, I'll show you those 8 lines and the one verse in them that almost everyone skips because it's the most uncomfortable sentence in the entire Tao Te Ching. A while ago on this channel, we sat with Chapter 8. The highest good is like water. The chapter Bruce Lee turned into 3 famous words, be water, my friend. But here's what almost nobody tells you. Chapter 8 is only half of the teaching. Lao Tzu left the other half 70 chapters later in chapter 78. Chapter 8 tells you what water is like. 78 tells you what water does. What it does to stone. What it does to force. What it does to everything hard that stands in its way. And it ends with a twist. A line about carrying what nobody wants to carry that flips the whole poem upside down. So let's read it, slowly, the way it deserves. Chapter 78. In the translation of D.C. Lau, Penguin Classics, 1963. In the world there is nothing more submissive and weak than water. Yet for attacking that which is hard and strong, nothing can surpass it. This is because there is nothing that can take its place. That the weak overcomes the strong, and the submissive overcomes the hard. Everyone in the world knows. Yet no one can put this knowledge into practice. Therefore the sage says, one who takes on himself the humiliation of the state is called a ruler, worthy of offering sacrifices to the gods of earth and millet. One who takes on himself the calamity of the state is called a king, worthy of dominion over the entire empire. Straightforward words seem paradoxical. 8 lines, 3 movements, a claim about water, a confession about us, and a price almost no one is willing to pay. Let's take them one at a time. The chapter opens with 4 words, Tianjia Moruro Yushui. Under heaven, nothing is softer or weaker than water. Notice what Lao Tzu does not say. He doesn't say water is secretly strong. He doesn't say water has hidden power. He says it plainly. Water is the weakest thing there is. You can put your hand through it. It has no shape of its own. It goes wherever it's pushed. And then the reversal. For attacking the hard and the strong, nothing surpasses it. Nothing can take its place. Think about what actually shaped the earth. The Grand Canyon is not the work of a hammer. It's the work of a river. A soft thing. Repeated. Every cliff on every coastline was carved by something you could drink. Here's the part that matters for your life. Water doesn't defeat the rock by becoming harder than the rock. It defeats the rock by refusing to become hard at all. It touches the same obstacle 10,000 times and it never once braces against it. No single touch wins. The persistence wins. The softness is not the absence of the attack. The softness is the attack. Now, if this is so obvious, why don't we live this way? Lao Tzu asks exactly that question in the next line, and his answer is brutal. That the weak overcomes the strong. Everyone in the world knows, yet no one can put it into practice. 2,500 years ago, Lao Tzu already knew that your problem would not be information. You know that shouting doesn't persuade anyone. You know that forcing sleep keeps you awake. You know that gripping a relationship tighter pushes it away. Nobody needs to be convinced of any of this. We nod along. And then the moment arrives. The argument, the deadline, the 3 a.m. spiral, and the hand closes into a fist anyway. Why? Because hardness feels like doing something. When we brace, when we push, when we tense the jaw, The effort itself feels like progress. Softness feels like surrender, like doing nothing. The Western mind especially, and I say this as someone with a fully Western mind, hears yield and translates it as loose. But watch water at the rock. Is it passive? It never stops moving. It never abandons the canyon. It yields at every point of contact and abandons nothing of its direction. That's the distinction we keep missing. Water is soft in its body and immovable in its intention. Soft body, immovable intention. Keep those 4 words. In a few minutes, I'll show you how to actually feel them. There's a 2-minute practice coming, and this one you can use tonight when your mind won't stop. But first, the verse everyone skips, because Lao Tzu is about to name the price of all this. One who takes on himself the humiliation of the state is worthy to rule it. One who takes on himself its calamity is worthy of the entire empire. Most commentaries rush past this. It sounds political. Kings, empires, sacrifices to the gods of earth and millet. What does that have to do with water? Everything. Remember, Chapter 8, water dwells in places that others disdain. It flows down to the drain, to the ditch, to the lowest point, where everything unwanted collects. Water is the only element that voluntarily goes where nothing else wants to be. And because it occupies the lowest place, every stream on the mountain ends up flowing toward it. Now read the verse again. The person worthy of leading is the one willing to absorb the blame, the mess, the humiliation that everyone else is busy deflecting. Bring it down from kings to a Tuesday. Something goes wrong in your family, in your team. Watch what everyone does, including you, including me. We harden, we explain, we defend our square meter of innocence. It wasn't me. I did my part. Everyone protecting their own hardness. The problem itself just sits there, unabsorbed. And then occasionally you meet someone who simply says, I'll take it, let it land on me. Now, how do we fix it? No self-flagellation, no martyrdom, just absorption. Like water closing over a stone. Notice what happens inside you toward that person. The trust is instant. That is what Lao Tzu means. Authority doesn't come from standing above the mess. It comes from being willing to be the lowest point. The place where the mess can finally settle and clear. Straightforward words seem paradoxical. The chapter ends. Jingyan Ru Fan. The truest sentences sound backwards. Soft defeats hard, low outranks high. Carrying blame builds trust. Backwards until you test them. So let's test one of them right now. 2 minutes. If you're somewhere, you can close your eyes, close them. If you're lying in bed with a mind that won't stop, even better. This practice was made for you. Find the hardest thing in you right now. Don't invent one. Locate it. A tight jaw, a knot under the sternum, a thought your mind keeps hitting like a wall. The conversation, the bill, the diagnosis. That's your stone. Now breathe in slowly and imagine the breath as water flowing toward the stone, not to break it. Water never tries to break. Breathe out and let the breath flow around it, touching every side, taking the shape of the obstacle without arguing with it. Again in. Water arrives at the stone. Out. Water surrounds it and moves on. The stone is still there. That's fine. Water doesn't need the stone gone today. Water has time. One more. In and out. Soft body. Immovable intention. Notice. The stone hasn't moved. But you have. You're no longer braced against it. That's not defeat. That's the beginning of the canyon. I'll be honest about where this chapter caught me. For years, I treated every problem in my life as a demolition job. More force, more hours, more grip. And I broke exactly none of my stones that way. What I broke was sleep. The week I started practicing this, actually practicing, not nodding along, I picked the smallest stone I had. A person whose emails made my shoulders climb. My discipline was stupid in its simplicity. Breathe once, full cycle, before answering. Water first, words second. Within a month, the relationship had changed. Not because they changed, because the thing they were pushing against had stopped pushing back. So here's this week's assignment. 1 stone, not 7. Choose the smallest recurring hardness in your days. Before you respond to it, 1 water breath. Around, not against. That's the entire practice. Everyone knows it. Almost no one does it. This week, be one of the ones who does. Chapter 78 is the proof, but the map of water's 7 virtues, where each one lives in your daily life. That's chapter 8. If you haven't sat with that one yet, it's right here on your screen. Become like water. Watch it tonight slowly, and if this channel gives your night mind somewhere quieter to rest, subscribe. 2 essays and a long reading every week. The softest thing on earth, given time. That's you, if you choose it.